right. Hey, Sarosh, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you? It has
Very
been a
good.
very, very long time, huh?
It's been a very
It
long
has been
time.
tremendously long. It is so nice to hear the Singaporean accent after
Really?
such a long time.
Oh no,
After,
I must have lost my fake accent then.
I,
Anyway, mhm.
good,
Yeah.
good, good, fabulous. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for joining me on Heartbeats of Hospitality today. So today we will be talking about your stories
Hmm.
and your passions and perseverance in this industry. Okay.
Right.
Let's start with a little introduction for everyone. What do you do, and how long have you worked in hospitality?
Well, I am currently a restaurant and bar manager. I'm working for one of the top hotels here in London. So I'm happy to be part of that team and to associate myself with that company. Um, in terms of the length I have been in hospitality, I can tell you that since a teenager, maybe my entire life for that matter, because I'm 30, 31 years old. I could say that, a good portion of my life I have spent in restaurants. The reason I say that is because growing up, also my dad used to work in restaurants, open restaurants around the world. He's even traveled to, places, remote places like, I mean, in Russia, he's gone to Moscow to open restaurants and things like that. So I have always been in there, in the system since a child, So that's where it comes from. I used to sit in the restaurants and critique things as a teenager, whilst he's trying to open a new place. I was telling him, oh, doesn't look right. Oh, this does not taste well. Oh, let's change this, that. I mean, this might not suit the current market. So in a way, I have always been there, and I have always felt part of it. And and I always thought that there was nothing else. Eventually, I realized that there is nothing else I want to do except this. So it has been the crux of my passion, and it's all been coming from there only.
Mhm.
But if you ask me that, what drew me, it's not only just that, but also everything else which happens, as a young person. Whatever it happens to a young person, there are multiple people telling you, do this, you do that, this is good for you, this is a good industry to go to, this is where the money is, this is where respect is, this is where you should be, everybody trying to impose their opinion on you.
Mhm.
And this is something I didn't want to be. I just could not stand people telling you this is good for you, right? And how can another person decide that this is good for you? On the other hand, it is supposed to be you. Although the challenge we face with youth, and because I've obviously, we all were younger once, and when we were deciding what to do in lives, we always have this. We are always so confused.
Yeah.
One of my managers, he told me, like, when you're young, you are very indecisive, right?
Mhm.
And to find the right advice when you're young, it is hard. It is very hard. So at the end of the day, it goes down. Yes, it's good to listen to people, but it always goes down to the fact that what do you feel? You have to find that answer for yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you hospitality is great for you, or it is not good for you. They will tell you these kind of things, and I can be an advocate of it. um, but at the end of the day, it comes as a young person, it just comes down to you, looking deep down and asking this question yourself, that what do you want to do? um, and I'm fortunate enough that I realized it early enough.
At
Otherwise
42,
I would have.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was very early. I realized this when I was being forced to learn Java and C++ as languages and computer sciences, and God knows I would have been a graduate in programming at the back of you
Google,
know.
okay.
But it sounds great, right? I could have been a good programmer.
Yep.
I was good at it, but I didn't enjoy it. Honestly, I didn't enjoy it.
So I have a little follow-up question with your story, where how you came into hospitality, right? What
Hmm.
was it about hospitality that you, instead of like, Google or like a programmer kind of job attracting you, what was it that hospitality had that attracted you to still stay after all these years?
It is the I I would tell you that everybody says travel and people, but I would tell you that it is also a very, very creative industry. Okay, especially the food and beverage for that matter, right? um, because I just love the creative element of it,
Mhm.
and obviously all the other things which comes around it, like meeting people like you over the world, we are connecting after such a long time, and like that I have friends all over the world, and in different time zones entirely, and I know them and I can visit them and I can talk to them. So these lifelong connections we've made, and so the creative part of hospitality is ignored. People think that it's a bedroom. You come in, stay in a room, you eat out, it's done. No, it is not it.
Mhm.
It's also a very evolving industry. It is very dynamic. It is ever changing, and you could do so much. In hospitality, the your imagination is a limit. You could do stuff, even whether you are a five-star hotel or you are a small pub down the road. Oh, you want to give the thing, you want to create a crazy promotion, yeah, why not? But there is so many other things even for hospitality, like it teaches you to be patient, it teaches you it teaches you conflict management, it teaches you to be a good salesperson, it teaches you marketing, it makes you run it like your own business, you learn accounting, you learn finance, so there are so many elements of it, and I always thought that the creative element, I enjoyed it very much, because even to this day, I love to sit down with chefs and you know talk to them on what's the thought process of their food is,
Mhm.
even when but with my with my bartenders, or with my assistant bar managers, to understand how they have created the concepts, and giving them further ideas and developing on those ideas, creating a concept on drinks, um, so these are so many things we just do, and
Mhm.
every single thing you touch in a hotel has somebody has thought it through, that this is how he's going to come and look at your table,
Right.
so the whole process of it is so engaging and so motivating and encouraging, you know so that has been my passion all throughout, and I think that's why I have stayed in food and beverage for um, such a long time. And although I had many deterrents down the road, the first one being my father, he said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He said to me, he said to me very clearly, I quote you, it's, "Are you sure you want to do this? You will have no life. You will not have a personal life. You will be working left, right, center." Although I disagree on that, but that's what he said, and that's how he tried to deter me from the industry. But I'll tell you more. This is one of the things which hospitality needs to change. Uh, we'll come to that in
Yeah,
a
we'll come
bit
to that
later. But
shortly. Yeah. I think this is something that we both actually think alike in a lot of ways, for that So we'll come back to that shortly. Because you've got maybe about, let's say you start at the age of 1, you've got 30 years of experience in hospitality. I joke. But what is
Mm.
the most memorable incident that you ever had in all these times?
In
One.
all these times, I would I could point the one incident comes to mind. It happened here in London, but a couple of years ago when I was very new here. Um, I met somebody who's so passionate. I thought that I was a passionate person, right? And then I came across somebody who was so passionate, and I thought that this is remarkable, right? So it was a busy night in the bar, right? It's completely packed, right? Because the business was based on conferences and events around the area.
Mhm.
So so to forecast when things will happen, it was very, very hard. So everybody came, at the same time, and to serve everybody at the same time, it's not an ideal situation, because you don't give proper service to people who are paying, right? And the company did not understand that, or the hotel did not understand that, because they all what it could see was everything was so transactional, and there was revenue being made, but big word, revenue in hotels, right?
Right.
um, so at the end of the night, I saw this person. Uh, I saw this person weeping. He's a man. He's a young man, and he's almost the same age as I am. And he was crying, and I went to him and I tried to console him. And I thought somebody has passed away in his family or something like that. And I asked him, "So why are you crying? What happened? Can I help you with anything?" So he said to me, "Sarosh, I feel bad that I am not able to give that level of service to the people who are paying, right? And I feel bad that this is not something I want to do, and to serve people like that. And I cry this today is because um, I am passionate about what I do, and this is not something I want to give back to people, because they are here, they're expected something, and they got something else." So that I thought was very touching moment in my life, and and it was very heartwarming as well, because you don't see these kind of passionate people coming across in your life always. There are passionate people, but this person was just beyond being passionate, right?
Yeah.
And to this day, he works with me again. He's the same, the same, the same, and absolutely. And I feel that it was. He might not remember this incident from a while back, right? But I do remember it very, very clearly, and I thought it was very inspiring to me personally. It was more than any mentors I've had, back in the days when I was in Singapore as well. I met great people. I had great mentors here in London as well, even back in Switzerland as well when I was studying. I had great mentors, but I thought that this was something I would remember all my life. That do not lose the sight of what you actually want to do and what you actually want to give to people.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That is a mind-blowingly beautiful story, and what a beautiful heart that person has. Yeah, your
yeah.
has, what a beautiful heart. Wow. Okay. And it's great that he's working with you, so you guys must be like really good buddies at work. And
Well, we connected after a while. He moved on obviously from there, and then he wanted to do, he wanted to find that a place where he could. But then he eventually, 3 years down the road, we met again, and I actually invited him to work together. So finally, I remember that very clearly with him, and I thought it
it's,
would be great to have him.
yeah, supporting each other as well, and keep inspiring each other. I think this is actually really very much the core of hospitality. Where it really,
Yeah.
really came from. The root of hospitality is to give. like the giving is really part of hospitality, and giving from the heart as well. And I would say, yeah, you're right, not many people actually can do that, and a
Yeah,
lot of us are just doing very transactional stuff for revenue, or
right.
just to do the job as well. Yeah, that's fantastic. I would love to meet this colleague of yours actually one day.
Well, one day you visit in London. One day you have to visit London.
Yes.
Uh, I have to take you around. Have you been to London
I
before?
have. I have. I was
Yeah.
there maybe just before. I'm not sure if you were there yet, but I was there quite a few years ago, just for a few days, so I didn't have time to really take a look at London. But
I have to take you out then.
I will
I
come.
have to plan it out once this
Definitely.
chaotic pandemic is over, you know?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're going into the part where we really want to talk about. I think you and I, Sarosh, we have a lot of ideas about these things. Like what is one thing we want to keep in the industry, and the one thing that we definitely feel like we need to change for the future,
Hmm.
for hospitality to flourish in the future, right? What else do we need to do or to change? Would you?
Hmm. What we, what I think we need to keep is the the hotel industry has been pretty much, it evolves, it changes. That is true, but the basic transaction of the industry
Mhm,
is very same. The heart of hospitality needs to remain the same. The passion, the creativity, and the people orientedness, and all the travel associated with it, and all of these things can remain the same. The things are the things are quite the things are there. I mean, these kind of things needs to be there, but they need to change and evolve, right?
mhm,
So the thing which I would like to see change is, especially for young people who or even people who are just starting their careers in hospitality, understand this very clearly, that we it is not people, there is a misconception that, oh, hospitality is long hours, right? This is like that, or that is like that. It's low paid job and stuff like that. Okay, it is not a low paid job. Yes, it is in some way or another. I mean, but it is not the lowest, or it is not. You could evolve and you could grow and you could make more money. It is just like it is the same as it is in any other industry. You start off somewhere and then you grow and you increase your salary, and you increase what you earn slowly and steadily, right? And there is this misconception that it is long hours, it is really a crazy amount of standing and things like that. It does exist, but as an individual, it is up to you to manage uh, those hours and those. I've realized this even when in Singapore. I used to do crazy hours, like madness. There was no tomorrow. From 6 a.m. in the morning, I was there until 7 p.m.
AM.
And for some reason,
Mhm,
my bosses expected me to be there, right? Or he's there, things are okay, fine, under control and things like that. Oh, why are you going home early? It's only half day. I remember this, if you go home in 8 hours, like, oh, is it half day?
mhm,
So this is a misconception that people need to come out of it, right? Even some of the bosses you work for, even to this day, they need to understand that yes, there are certain days where you need to be present because it's an important occasion,
mhm,
but there are most days you don't need to be there. You have done your bit in your 8 hours, right? If you cannot accomplish everything you wanted to for in your 8 hours, what makes you think that you can do that in another 2 hours or another 2 hours,
mhm.
right? It is just such a misconception that it's very hard to break. It's very hard to break, and people need to change this mindset. And people need to understand that managing your work and life, it is up to you. You can stand up to your boss and say, I need to go home. I think my colleagues who I have trained, there are colleagues who are there who can take charge in your absence, right?
Mhm.
Who I have trained, they're the very reason they're hired here for is to be present when I am not there. It's simple, right? So they're there, they will look after it, you know. Anything else, that's it. People can stand up and speak and say, I'm sorry, you know, it's just not it. Even if I become a boss, I would not start this culture um, that you stay these hours. I expect you to be here. I just don't see the point. You
That's
know, then you can make money. You know, even in hospitality, you grow yourself and you make enough money. I don't complain about salary I get paid, but I'm happy where I am, and it is not the end of the world. You know.
yeah.
So these kind of things I really I still hope and I instill in my supervisors and my assistant managers. Go home.
That's excellent. That is excellent. Like Sarosh, it is up to people of, because we are, I would say we would be the next generation of management, because we are
Right.
the ones who's carrying on in the future. We
Exactly.
take that. And if people of our management, our senior middle management level, if we start to actually change our mindset from here, yes, we might have gone through very tough times in the past. We might have
Yeah.
had our bosses tell us, like, what, you don't work 16 hours? What's this, half day? This is
Yeah.
really something that they had from their predecessors, and then
Correct.
they passed it on to us, but we got to cut it off here because that's
Correct.
not right. That's pretty much abusing your stuff, right? In a way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're completely right to say. I mean, it's you're completely right to say you train the people well enough so that they are able to be empowered enough to take on the roles when you're absent. I absolutely agree with you on
And to be very honest with you, every time, 80% of the time, I've stayed back on because somebody has asked me to. All those times, I never felt the need for it because the other person was under control. And it is very demotivating for the other person that it is his role and I'm intervening. Why are you here? You know, so in a way, it stops the growth of the person of being on by themselves as well.
yeah.
So, so I think it's a good point that we need to stop this here.
Yeah, we need to stop this here. It needs to stop here. I'm
Mm,
so glad you brought this up because this is a fantastic thing to talk about. I think in terms of the pay scale, yes, a lot of countries maybe the pay scale is much lower for hospitality,
mm,
and I think it's not something that we can judge globally because
mm,
there are places that actually pay really well for hospitality jobs, and then
mm,
there are really places that pays really badly for hospitality jobs too.
mm.
It really does depend, but then you're right, we can grow.
But you know, salary is such a sensitive point
Yeah, it
that
is. It
it
is.
is even if you are making a bit more than what you were making last year,
Yeah,
you would still be complaining as an individual that, oh, I'm not making enough money. Oh,
it,
I'm not making enough
it
money.
will never
It
have.
never ends.
Will never
This
end.
is a cycle, which is a topic left. There's a topic left. Should not even debate on these kind of topics, you know, because
Yeah.
it just is.
Mm.
It just is what it is. People, by human nature, they just bound to be wanting more, no?
Yeah, but I guess so. Maybe just to give an example, there are places like hospitality entry level jobs for graduates, right? Is 25 to 30% less paying than any other entry level jobs, and you all have
Hmm.
a degree, you all have a diploma of the same level, and why
Hmm.
do you have an industry that pays you much lower? If
Hmm.
we have like a balanced kind of industry, of course we cannot control that, this is all hypothetically that we're saying,
Hmm.
then you have an equal opportunity of attracting talents. So I think maybe
Hmm.
just at entry level, for me personally, if
Hmm.
at entry level you get like a fair payment, you attract the people and you don't lose them right at the very beginning of like,
Hmm.
if I go to banking, I'll make like 25% more.
Hmm.
So off I go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but
Hmm.
but I do agree as well that this is an industry that we can all grow and make money as well. It's not that we can't.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, and it's a very fulfilling career, and that's why we're all still doing it. We're
Yeah,
so
we are.
into it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So we want to keep the creativity, we want to keep the evolution, we want to keep the people connection, we want to change the work-life balance, because you have to change your mindset to be able to stand up to the people who are, that you're working for, if you want to take care of
Absolutely.
your life. But for us, as well as middle managers at this point of time, we are also going to take charge, and we also have to change our mindset, not to give other people the grief that we received in the past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent. Down to my favorite question, because I really like to learn this about everyone. What is your one word core value that you live and breathe in your work in hospitality?
One word, I was actually thinking about it earlier today, and
Okay,
I
I'll
could
give you
not
three.
I could not pinpoint it, but I will try to give it a shot. Um, I I do think that to be to pass on,
To pass on to
to pass on,
knowledge.
to share, to that is one thing I live by, like to pass on whatever I know,
Mm,
to pass on, whether it's the whether it may be even the most an information which I should not be sharing at a certain level, but I want to pass on that wisdom of how to do certain things, how to deal with bosses,
mm,
I want to explain to individuals, share the knowledge of products,
mhm,
whatever I know,
mhm,
I want to pass on, you know.
mhm.
It may be the most sensitive things even about my boss, but I want to still make you understand how a person is thinking,
Yeah.
right? So, so basically to share with
Share.
people,
Mm-hmm.
to what I know, like people have done that with me, knowingly or unknowingly. But
Mm-hmm.
this is one word this is one thing I live by, and I make sure that in every role I have been in, I am passing on a part of me to somebody. And it is very, very interesting that in my previous places, when I used to be there, when I tell them that I'm coming to dine, right? Okay, I'm coming to eat, right? I've made a booking, right? It is not that they give me, complimentary stuff and things like that. They come here, the people who used to work with me, and they would make sure the things are in the right place. They're doing proper service at the table. They're following they're following things I've shared with them. And you could see those people have gone from being mere waiters to becoming assistant managers and going to be managers right now. So that is very rewarding, because even after you've gone for away for a couple of years, people still remember of the things the things should be.
Mm-hmm.
And and then they a bit of a panic mode, he's gonna come, and
Watch.
I will always share. I will always share regular the things, something I feel is not right. I will share that. Okay, I am not gonna critique you, I'm not gonna complain to you, but I will share that it was better like that. I would give a reason why,
Yeah.
not just I feel that way,
Yeah.
right? But there is a logic behind it as well. So passing on is a value I live by. Sharing is a value I live by.
Mm.
So, and I want to continue this.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. And we'll keep on sharing what we know with the industry and how our passions and our mindsets, we have to keep sharing that. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My
I know
pleasure.
that I
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah. All right.